Welcome to Comics A to Z. In this video, we will be talking about Abomination, who he is, what his history was, and a brief introduction about his life in the Marvel Comics, as well as how we can relate him to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So let's dive into the video. Abomination made his first appearance in Tales to Astonish Volume 9D that was released in April 1967. His real name is Emil Blonsky, and by occupation he was a criminal. He didn't have any fixed base as he was a spy and he kept changing his locations. He stood 6 feet 8 inches tall in the Abomination form and weighed around 980 pounds. So a lot of you must have seen Abomination in the movie Incredible Hulk released in 2008, and some of you might have skipped it who has seen the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So who exactly is Abomination? So there was a man named Emil Blonsky and he was born in Zagreb, Yugoslavia. So he had a deep beliefs in the communist Russia and loved his wife Nadia. Even though his wife was everything for him, he would sometimes hit her and this damaged their marriage. In case you are going to search the place where he was born, let me tell you beforehand, the country no longer exists in real life. It was reconstituted in 2003 and now it is known as the Republics of Montenegro and Serbia. So later in his life, he became a spy and he infiltrated the US Air Force Base, which is the very base where Bruce Banner aka Hulk discovered the gamma radiation equipment which he was planning to use upon himself to commit suicide. But Emil Blonsky irradiated himself with it and became the monstrous Abomination. He is considered to be way stronger than the Hulk. He has superhuman strength which makes him able to take a leap of 2 miles. Imagine if you have the superpower of leaping 2 miles. So his body is also covered with reptilian scales which allows him to withstand firearms. So now if you have read the comics or seen the Marvel Cinematic movies, you must have known that the Hulk could be calmed down and brought back to human form if he gets unconscious or gets fainted, or maybe even by singing a lullaby to him. We have seen that in MCU a lot of times where Black Widow goes up to him and sings a lullaby. He calms down and becomes Bruce Banner again. But this is not the case of Abomination. He rarely turns back to human form, and surely a lullaby won't work on him. If you try to do that, he might probably just eat you up. But he has one advantage that Hulk doesn't have. When he turns into Abomination, he has all the mental power of the host, that is Emil. Just like if you have seen Professor Hulk in the Avengers Endgame or read in the comics, the Professor Hulk has the body of Hulk but the mind power of Bruce Banner. That's exactly what Abomination is from the very beginning. He doesn't need to do any further experiments on himself. Now in the comics, Hulk and Abomination have battled several times. They have caused chaos and destruction everywhere. But soon the collision between them was interrupted when the Stranger, a cosmic being, kidnapped Abomination into the space in order to study him. And Abomination also ended up serving as the first mate of the starship Andromeda. So why did the Stranger kidnap Abomination? He believed that the Earth is not ready for such a living nuclear monster, so he needs to get rid of that, so he kidnapped Abomination. And also he needed to study him. So when later Abomination was sent back to Earth, he played roles as a pawn to many strong antagonists in the comics, such as Modok, Mephisto and Tryannus.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
So before I talk more about Abomination, I would like to give a short brief of these antagonists I just mentioned. So Modok was a scientist at AIM, which stands for Advanced Idea Mechanics. He was mutated in order to obtain an organic computer. Mephisto. If you have seen the WandaVision and read about his theories, you must be knowing that Mephisto has been everywhere, but he never even appeared. Oh, spoiler alert, he never appeared in WandaVision. So what is Mephisto? He is an extra-dimensional demon who has immense power just like Satan. And lastly, Tryannus. He was the last emperor of the Roman Empire in the 6th century. Last Roman emperor in the 6th century, but MCU doesn't exist in the 6th century. So Merlin the magician teleported him to our world. I would talk more in depth about these villains when their turn comes, but now let's get back to Abomination. Way before when he was even made pawn, Emil Blonsky went to his wife Nadia and revealed what he has become. He showed his new true form, the Abomination. As soon as she saw that, she left him. Now, since he shared similarities with the Hulk, that both are monsters, but Bliss was still married to Hulk and accepted him unconditionally. So he became super jealous that why is he rejected but Hulk is being accepted and loved. So he did something unacceptable. He poisoned Hulk's wife. Now things keep on taking ugly turn. General Ross, that is Bliss or Betty's father, you must have seen him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe a lot of times. He's the one who brought the Sokovia Accords in Civil War, and he has been quite lately hated a lot. So he's the one who becomes the Red Hulk, hunted down and killed Abomination with a special gun which was designed to kill the Hulk. But the story of Abomination doesn't end here. So during Chaos War, Luthor freed the Abomination from Afterlife to fight for him. But later he was destroyed again. There's not much to connect with the MCU in this video since he has already appeared in the MCU, but we can see him again in the future because he cannot be destroyed that easily, and even if he has been, or he can still come back to life maybe in like years later when we are actually seeing a lot of entities, deities in the MCU, and when we are seeing parts of space. Pluto, which actually freed Abomination from Afterlife in the Marvel Comics, we might see that same thing in the MCU. Well, that's pretty much it. I gave you the brief, the history, and what actually was the fate of Abomination in the Marvel Comics. In my next video, I will be talking about Acolytes, who they are, a brief about them, and how we might be seeing him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So please like and subscribe and stay updated with the Marvel A-Files.